Yo, this is Easy motherfucking E, and you're listening to Real G-Funk. Junkies.
Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of the Money, Power, and Respect review. We're going to pick up right where we left off. We're going to go into the independent hustle. I like the independence that, I think you were trying to touch on this, so I'll let you take it before I give my 2 cents.
The subject money, it kind of just, like, touches that. I forgot when the whole independent thing in rap, I don't know if it was like the year 2009 when it really got more popular, or a little bit less before. I really started hearing about the whole independent thing when Koch Records came into play. But it basically, I feel that the independent route, because they talk about like the obvious about how much, and obviously this kind of crosses over because, the East Coast rappers had a little bit more, how should I say, they had more opportunities, I believe, from big record labels. So they got to see a little bit more of the contracts. And you see, like, Terror Squad member Triple Six, which he was never really a hard hitter in Terror Squad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He was just, I don't want to say kind of lingering, but maybe some could say he was like the weakest link out of that group. They had an honorary member, Tony Touch, as a DJ. They had Armageddon, which I believe he never, and Triple Six, I don't believe they never released any kind of commercial releases. Then Cuban Link got shelved, and then it was just basically all, then they had Tony Sunshine singing hooks, and basically it was just, it really never really got outside on a big level, outside of, Pun and Fat Joe, and Cuban Link singles, Cuban Link songs on the radio, his 2 or 3 that he had.
But going back to what we were talking about, like the units that they were moving was pretty interesting, dog. Because Sick Jackin says he says they moved 30 to 50,000 units independently for book 1 with no promos or ads.
Units, we did like between 30 and 50 on book 1, independent. With no promotion, no ads, no radio, no nothing.
It made me think, like, damn, like I really liked some of the songs on that first, those first 2 albums that they made, dog. Those were fucking dope. Stone Garden, fucking Psycho City Blocks, and all the other shit, Tragedy.com, Dysfunctional. Like those were my jams,
Right. Nah, definitely Psycho Realm did their thing, man. That first album's hard. And after that, they went a little bit mixtapey.
Yeah, I didn't like any of that shit, dude.
So, yeah, and then after that, it says that I'm trying to think about when did Slow Pain's Baby OG come out? Was it 95?
1995, dog.
So he said he said he moved up to date. So that documentary, let's just
7 years,
to 2002, 2003. So in 7 years, 57,000 units up to date at that time. So
my first album, SoundScan is like 57,000 right now.
It's kind of just weird. It looks like, to touch on it, like I said, the Chicanos compared to the East Coast, like I said, they never really had too much experience with the big labels. Independent is the way to go for them, and that's how they always dealt with that. And it's funny because Royal talks about he had success, but it's hard for homies to come up, with how are you going to get the promotion and the money?
A lot of these people don't understand the promotion because you have to hit the streets. They got to be willing to spend a little more money. We need to get in more magazines. We need to get on TV, commercials. We need to do that to blow up to the next level.
But then he's out there saying that, hey, we got to get over the swap meets and the car shows and the posters. We've been there, done that. But if there's no money, the independent way that's the kind of promotion you're getting.
That's the bread and butter, dog.
We could do flyers and posters all day, but that shit gets old, homie. You need to hit the front line.
I think that's probably what's hurt. Like, there's so many things that have hurt the game, dog. Like, number one, I think the internet really fucked it all up for everybody, right? On all spectrums of the industry, like whether you're mainstream or not. But it also helped get your music out there to people that weren't going to listen to it before. At least that's how I came into music, right? Like, that's how I got to hear so much shit. And if I liked it, I was gonna go out and buy it. You know what I mean? And that's how it's been for me. But I think that's what's hurting the game, dog, is how people going independent. Because the decentralization of people with no deals dropping music independently makes it hard for me as a fan to even find out who the fuck somebody is and when the fuck they're dropping something. You know what I mean? Like, at least with labels like Familia Records, they had like their advertisements on their own albums. You know what I mean? Like, you knew what to expect, kind of knew the quality. Like, okay, the in-house producer for this label sounds this way. You know what I mean? Or this label puts out music that sounds a lot like this. So if I like this, I'm most likely gonna like that shit. But I think the going independent like makes it hard because I don't know who the fuck anybody is, and I don't know what their sound is like, and I don't know who they're fucking with. You know what I mean?
Right.
The first G-File album did okay. This last G-File album's doing, we're at maybe 30 or 40,000.
Wish Slow Pain would have talked about a little bit more about the Goodfellas album, the first one.
G-Fellas?
Yeah,
dog, I
G-Fellas
trip out on that shit. He says that they did.
You talked about the
40,
second one.
40,000.
On the second one, yeah. You talking about the covers like with the Mexican flag and they're like staticky looking, right?
Yeah,
and it's just him and Nino Brown missing ALT.
Yeah,
okay. And you know what? And then that's one thing that like this has always gone over my head.
And the way I see it, you selling 100,000 records like you Little Rob or something like that, that's where you want to be.
Slow Pain talks about like, Little Rob's success. I've never known how much success Little Rob has had. So getting props from Slow Pain, a guy that was, pushing units and it was heard of. I always overlooked Shadow's Crazy Life success, and this was in the cusp of between Crazy Life and I'm assuming there's a gap between Crazy Life and Natural High.
Crazy Life came out in '96, and then it got
96?
reprinted by Familia in 1997. But Natural High, I think, came out in 1992. That's sorry, 99. Yeah, I don't know why I said 92.
Okay, so
came out in 1999.
1999. So there wasn't no big gap. So
But keep in mind, dog, before that, so I guess the Mayhem clique was supposed to happen, right? So 1996, he comes out with his solo shit, clicks up with Shadow between 96 and 98, I guess. And that was supposed to be the Mayhem clique, right? That didn't happen. And then we end up with Natural High in 99. So I guess he stayed pretty relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, so it just kind of like, I would hear about Little Rob, but I never really knew the magnitude of his success. Outside of that, it touches into the whole the Terror Squad beef, right? It's like I'm not gonna touch on the whole Fat Joe and Cuban Link because that beef is still going on today. I mean, the last thing I still heard, shots are still being, like I said, Cuban Link calls him out, and then like Fat Joe just subliminally sends a message. And the last thing I heard, just Fat Joe was criticized for not attending Big Pun's Big Pun's street ceremony that he got named. He didn't attend the street ceremony.
They actually got the street named after him?
Yeah.
The last thing I heard was that because he was a wife beater, that the city wasn't gonna name a street after him.
Oh wow. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought they did do it. So man, see. So like I said, it's still.
No, I mean this is years
an
ago,
ongoing
dog.
thing.
I didn't know anything recent.
Oh, okay. So
Why the fuck does Royal keep on saying that Little Rob is from Del Mar? To this fucking day, he keeps on saying Del Mar.
I think that was Shadow.
That was Royal. He said it on Tony A's show. He even said it on the thing here. He says like gang banging in Del Mar, homie. What the fuck?
Gang banging in Del Mar, homie. What the fuck?
And I'm just like, dog, why the fuck doesn't he just say Solana Beach? Because Del Mar and Solana Beach are two different fucking places. You know what I mean? It'd be like saying National City and Chula Vista and getting those two confused. Those are completely different fucking cities and towns. You know what I mean?
Right.
Solana Beach is not Del Mar. Just throw that out there.
Right. Outside the beefs on the Chicano rap side, they aren't to look into. I mean, you just have Shadow and Little One. They they talk some stuff about Little Rob, you know, about his overpronounced cholo slang, overemphasized accent.
You thought I was gone, but I'm back.
Legit.
You know, then after that, they just the segment.
That was my
goes
criticism too, dog. Like I didn't like Low Pro Little Rob because of those fucking reasons. The Simone, you know what I mean? The all that shit like that. I didn't like the direction that Royal, you know, managed Little Rob in. I refused to listen to Little Rob in the Low Pro era.
After that, you know, it gets into people get to aim their shots at Frost. You know, Frost has been known as like to be a real cocky dude, that he thinks he's he thinks he's high and mighty, the end all be all, and that everyone should praise him, and that, you know, he kind of looks down upon to people that are even more talented than him. You know, so
you know, that's the
professional
thing,
bridge
like,
burner.
You know, he would step across the line. Habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
I will give Frost his props for the magnitude of La Raza. But I think that, like, yeah, he has stepped on way too many people's toes. You know what I mean? And I don't know what the whole thing was about him downplaying Diego, dog. Like,
he went up and started to talk shit about us. That he wasn't, you know, we weren't on his level, and then just talking shit.
Talking about like down talking Dago, we show nothing but love, you know, like I said, but
I don't think Kid Frost understands the significance of San Diego in Chicano rap. And I don't think he understands
I think
that.
he knows. I think he knows.
I think now he knows, but at that time that this shit was coming out, I don't think he understood that shit, right? Because, again, you know, Frost is coming in with his fucking nose up in the air, talking about, I'm on MTV, I got a record deal, I was on Ruthless. Like, he thinks he's tossing his fucking weight around, you know what I mean? And it's just like fucking Night Owl said, right? I think he said this on the ALR podcast. Shout out to GPA and ALR. Frost came up, and, you know, when Night Owl met him, he's like, Kid Frost, Big East LA or some shit like that.
When I met him, I remember he introduced himself to me, and he's like, I'll never forget this, homie, because he's all, what's up, homie? This is Kid Frost, Big East LA.
And Night Owl retorts with,
what's up, homie? Night Owl, Waptown Gang, Big San Diego. And he just looked at me, and I looked at him like, what's up, motherfucker? You know what I mean? And nothing happened out of that, but he just looked at me like he didn't expect for me to come at him like that.
He was from an actual neighborhood versus, you know, Kid Frost trying to just throw his weight around. And, you know, I've said this before, but Kid Frost he's not Chicano rap. He was electro rap that became Latin rap, tried to ride the wave of gangster rap, and once the mainstream had enough of him, that's when he tried to join the underground. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't a part of the Chicano rap.
You know, you would find, like, Frost, you wouldn't find him in the Chicano rap section. You would find him in just regular section. But Frost might have came out first overall as far as professionally. But I was rapping just as long as he was, or before he was. But I was doing it straight for barrio. I wasn't doing no hip-hop bullshit. I was doing it for the hood. You know what I mean? I was fucking set tripping, gang banging, doing music for the hood. They weren't doing music for the hood. They was fucking trying to rap like Farside and fucking hip-hop Scooby-Doo bullshit. Fuck all that.
This is what goes back to what I'm saying about Frost downplaying the significance of San Diego in this fucking genre. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, even Baby Bash, you know, gets to you know, even Conan speaks for him, but even he says that that fucking he felt that Baby Bash, you know, had to leave him. You know, he had to go another route because he felt that fucking Frost was holding him back, and he had to go out to Texas to go do his thing out there. So
fuck you, Frost. That's why nobody in your camp hangs out with you. Even Baby Beach told us the same shit. He went to fuck with South Park Mexican because you were trying to hold them back and down. Those are his words. Sorry, Baby Beach, but I'm the real.
Kid Frost was not liked from day one. You know what I mean? And when I say not liked, I mean like people were pulling his card, right? One of the first groups to diss Kid Frost was this group from Norwalk. So shout out to Norwalk's Most Wanted. They were dissing Frost and his camp. And I think AOT even acknowledged it in one of the interviews, how they got dissed by Norwalk's Most Wanted.
Right.
And this was as early as 1992, dog.
How many diss songs were to AOT? Can you think of any?
No.
There was one, but I won't mention it. There was one.
Really?
There was one way in the early days. Norwalk's Most Wanted.
Yo, fat ass Frost, you ain't my motherfucking boss. You too fat for the thin line punch. ALT, still out our race some more, you little fucking bitch. Mellow, at least you had the balls to admit you sold out.
But other than that, nobody dissed me. You know why? How many people have you ever heard me diss?
None.
Nobody.
Right.
Frost had his beef, and that's my boy, and I love him to death. And I backed him up on him, you know what I mean? But I was very careful about what I put out in the market, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then you had like, you know, the obvious animosity that Brownside had against Kid Frost and shit too, you know? They were label mates and they didn't fucking like Frost.
Frost, lighter shit of Brown, you can't even put them in our category.
Not even on that tip.
Nah. They have their own thing going. I don't know what it is, but they have their own thing going.
They have their own thing going.
Yeah.
And Kid Frost has like you said, he's a professional bridge burner, so.
He's a habitual line stepper.
And then outside of that, the beef segment also touches on, I'm kind of actually surprised is maybe because black people didn't care, I don't know. But as big as Cypress Hill
Probably.
is, as big as Cypress Hill is, because I'm always guessed that Cypress Hill, they say that that Cypress Hill aimed at everybody, but I always believed that it was ghetto white boys and Mexicans that were buying Cypress Hill
Yes.
shit. But it's
All the
and
stoner
then plus,
kids.
and the stoner kids and the skaters and the suburban kids. But as big as Cypress Hill got, you ever notice that the beef always staying inside? It always kind of staying behind closed doors.
I was burned out on, all the critics talking shit, the Source magazine and all these magazines talking about, Send Dog couldn't bring it and Send Dog sucks and all this and that, you know what I mean? And it was honestly causing problems, within the band, within Muggs and I. And for a long time, it was like I would held it up inside because there was nobody that I should really tell that shit to other than Muggs. And until he and I got together one day and we had dinner at my house and shit, and we got drunk and high and we told each other everything what he didn't like about me. I told him what I didn't like about him, and ever since then, shit, we've been straight. We got no problems at all.
So I never knew too much about their beef. I know that there was a beef here and there. They would take switch out members, switch out DJs, but it seems like there was never really touched on. It was just pretty much at one point, just the label, the agents, or who knows what. They just looks like they just wanted to be Cypress Hill to be more like a Be Real act.
When you first get famous and got a lot of money and shit, people try to get in your ear, and before you know, hey man, you guys don't need that dude, man. You guys could do it yourselves, man. And that's another thing, another guy you don't have to pay. There's more money for you guys, and that's what they were telling them. That's what people was telling them. You know what I mean? And I guess they felt that was the way to go. You know what I'm saying? So.
I find that weird, and fucking Sendog says it right. Like, he felt he was burnt out on hip hop, that he was tired of the critics talking shit, that the Source was saying he couldn't rap, and his departure affected the live performances and shit. And that the whole thing about the critics saying that he was whack.
I was burned out on all the critics talking shit, the Source magazine and all these magazines talking about Send Dog couldn't bring it and Send Dog sucks and all this and that. You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't really care too much about Be Real, and I still don't care. You know what I mean? But I thought that Sendog was more versatile, was more entertaining, and just had a better voice and better delivery. And, I think when he says, he got tired, it finally got to him that people were saying that he was whack. I think Mac 10 even says that in a diss, right? In the King of the Hill song, or I think it was Ice Cube, he says, what's this? Send Dog is so whack, he ain't even worth dissing.
Send Dog, you can't rap from the guts. And Be Real sounding like he got baby nuts. And Send Dog is so whack, he ain't worth dissing.
And you know what I mean? Like, to me, you know, Sendog was the one that kicked it off for everyone on the block, right? I liked him best out of the group, and sometimes I wonder if that criticism came because, you know, I think you've said this before too, that he's the one that represented more, right? You look at him and, you know, like bald head, the fucking with the brocha, and he looks like a fucking homie. He's just really tanned, you know what I mean? With the lokes and everything, the fucking Charlie Brown and Pendletons and shit. Like, to me, I always saw Sendog and I was like, this fool can't be Cuban. This fool's gotta be Mexican, you know what I mean? Like,
and he always presents himself as a homie too, which is weird.
To all you vatos, make sure you check this. In every video, I'm well respected.
You listen to Sendog and you listen to the way that he comes off, and he really sounds like a fucking cholo. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think he's a lot more talented than Whack 10, dog. Like, to me, Whack 10 was the weakest link in West Side Connection. In comparison to Sendog, you know, Sendog is multi-talented. The motherfucker's bilingual. He sounds a lot better rapping in Spanish than Be Real, that's for sure. It kickstarted the career for DBX, right, which was the precursor to fucking Cypress Hill. And then Cypress Hill, Delinquent Habits, you know, he's the one that produced the first 2 albums, I think. And then he went on and did that rock band.
Yeah,
rock
he did like
rap. SX10, I think, is what they were called.
Yeah, he did his own thing. Yeah, he did his own thing.
Motherfucker's, you know, multi-talented.
With the rock band, yeah. You're right.
I was the person who started everything on the block that led to the groups and all that shit, so...
What are you gonna say about Whack 10? You know, I can't think of anything positive to say about the weakest link in fucking West Side Connection. You know what I mean? Like, is there a song that I like here and there? Yeah, but I don't think he's as talented as Sendog. But it makes you wonder, dog, like, did Sendog get all that criticism because of the way that he came off? Right? Like, are they hating on him because he represented like a fucking homie or what?
Very good fucking point to prove. Very good point. You know, maybe, who knows? Maybe they were like, hey, we're trying to go this route. And now, you know, you're kind of steering away. And it's funny because, like, after that, what did Be Real do? He still did his thing, but he's the one that did the features. He's the one that just kept doing the more features with the more prominent black artists. You know, he even joined the other groups. Like I said, Cypress Hill is very versatile. But you remember, even Be Real, like I said, you never know how they're feeling, you know. Be Real, even at one point, like I said, was presenting himself for a homie for a while, you know, being all up a Joker, shaving his head, you know, being a honorary member of like a Cycle Realm. So Cypress Hill definitely deserves, he's a subject to talk about. He definitely deserves a conversation of its own, an episode of their own. But
and I've said this before, dog, like, I can't deny the impact, the influence, and the legacy that fucking Cypress Hill has had on Chicano culture. You know what I mean? But I will criticize him for the way that he has represented it. You know what I mean?
Right. What about the incident? What are you gonna say on that?
Okay.
Did I go first?
Go first, dog, because I got a lot more shit to unpack here.
Okay.
Nobody jump. I don't give a fuck.
Watch out. Hey, watch out. Let's take you somewhere else. I mean, right here, you know, this is a click. That's my homeboy.
You know what? I'm gonna, what is it? When they say, I'm gonna play the fence here, you know, or is that how you say it? Play both sides of the fence, or I forgot how you say it, but.
You're gonna play the good cop, bad cop?
Yeah, so, like I said, so many questions to ask, so many situations, so many angles. All I can say is this, man. Everyone handles situations differently. I mean, who knows here? I mean, was Little One about to do something and maybe he just took too much time? Or maybe he just didn't want no smoke? Or maybe he didn't expect the black fool to swing? Or maybe he did expect the black fool to swing? Maybe they were going to jump him? Things went wrong? I'm just shocked they made the documentary. I'm surprised that it's like, they were like, hey man, you gotta cut that out, man. That's gonna kill my career, you know?
And here's the thing I was saying earlier, dog. Like, when I was first giving Chicano rap a chance, it left a bad taste in my mouth. You know what I mean? And this is before Night Owl got slapped, right? This is when I saw the way that Little One was getting down. I was like, what the fuck is this shit, dog? And you know, keep in mind, dog, like, fuck, man. There's so much to unpack here. So much to unpack. So, I saw this with 2005, I think, was the first time I came around this, and it did leave a bad taste in my mouth. And I wasn't digging Lil One for a long time because of this incident. I think it made San Diego look bad for letting a black guy or a Samoan sucker punch the yato that was calling him out, right? Because, Lil One's from a well-respected neighborhood. I expected to see Lil One handle it differently. Like, hey, dog, if you're gonna fucking catch a fade because someone called you out for whatever fellow was going on there, he should have handled it. You know what I mean? And this is 20 years after the fact, or almost 20 years. But I thought that was some sucker shit. You know what I mean? And I love Lil One's music, and I've said it so many times. I think he's one of the most lyrical people in the genre. But when I saw this shit, I was like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? And then afterwards, after the fact that happened, he's bragging about it. He's like he was gonna do something himself, and he wasn't, dog. And to have his bodyguard lay that fool out with a sucker punch, like, that was some sucker shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know what to say. I gotta say,
See what happens? You see? You stupid motherfuckers. Keep your mouth shut. God damn it.
He should have just fucking taken the if he was gonna throw down and he got his ass kicked, oh well, at least he didn't fucking duck the fade. You know what I mean? But
right.
I think that said a lot more to let somebody else handle that shit. You know what I mean?
And then what's crazy is because, like how you just labeled the black dude, his bodyguard. That's what he's known for, his bodyguard. And it probably wasn't even his bodyguard to begin with. That's just, hey, man, that's what he got labeled, man. They all labeled him the bodyguard. So, after that, the documentary just kind of cuts away from a subject, just beefs. It looks like beefs just ends, and then it just cuts into honestly, I thought it goes
hating.
Hating. Actually, well, right before it gets that, I think this is not even a beef. It's just like I said, something that happened. I believe the Fernando Vargas thing should have been scratched out. It was cool that he made a cameo and gave his opinion, but the documentary needed more sinful.
I said with Motown, it was more like, we were the first Latino artists on their label. So it was kind of hard for them to, they didn't know which angle to go, with the Latin stuff. And plus back then, 93, 94, nobody was really up on that, with the Spanish rap, So it was like, how do we market these guys, And, we were hitting the wrong markets, A lot of the shows that we were doing were in the wrong spots,
Simple was there, very limited. As a matter of fact, I was actually shocked. How tall is that motherfucker? That motherfucker dunked. I was actually pretty shocked by that. So I don't know, unless they lowered down the court. But after that, it does go before we talk about the whole hate, the crabs in the bucket. There's just a female rapper, and she actually is the one that gets down the most in that damn documentary, even if she was reciting a song. She goes by Seven from Lithium Records. She was cool. She showed some talent, but I never found anything out about her, anything after that.
I think Sick Jackin is a smart guy, dude. Like, I think he has a really insightful shit to say, you know what I mean? And
Latinos, you know what I mean? We fucking tend to just, I don't know if they call us crabs in a bucket, you know what I mean? Because when one of us is climbing up, the other ones tend to drag down and shit.
And he's somebody that I would like to see have a podcast because he's so articulate, so very thoughtful with what he says, and right. A lot of the shit that he says is very true. Like, I can't find myself disagreeing with it, you know what I mean? Unlike, you've heard me disagree with fucking Bobo and the Cypress Hill camp on everything they fucking said, you know what I mean? And it's not that I hate on them, it's just that I have a lot of shit to critique because a lot of the shit they say is just shit out of their asses. But Cypress Hill, by the fucking Sick Jackin, when he says, yeah, it's a fucking crabs in a bucket mentality. Yeah, the first thing we want to know when we hear a rapper is like, what neighborhood is he from?
Now everybody wants to know what barrio does he claim.
Let me go back to Kid Frost when he first came out. La Raza blew up overnight. Okay, I heard many Chicanos before they said that they liked that song, that was dope. Here's what they were worried about. I wonder where he's from.
You know what I mean? It's not like, shit, does he have more material? No, it's like the first thing we want to know is what neighborhood is he from? Is his paperwork right? Is he in a gang file? Like, you know what I mean?
Actually, that's the first time I actually even ever heard, when I watched the documentary, that's the first time I ever heard the term crabs in a bucket. Then after that, I started hearing it left and right. And yeah, like you said, then on top of that, you know, our own people, man, even our people that are in the streets, you know, that aren't banging, they're the ones that, you know, they our own people hold us back. You know, they don't want to take a listen. They already feel like they feel like, I like how these Chicano rap critics, they feel like they know everything there is about Chicano rap, fucking listen to one or two songs, see one or two awful album covers, and they just think that they haven't figured it all out. It's weird. I've even had people like, oh, you listen to Mr. Shadow, and then they'll even recite like some like overpronounced accent, you know, Cholo slang, which he doesn't do. And I'm like, okay, why even get into it with that guy? It's clear that, you know, he doesn't listen to that. You know?
I don't get why we clown accents like that, but then we're okay with fucking reciting shit from the South. Dog, do you know how I don't listen to fucking UGK, dog? I think UGK is terrible because I can't fucking stand their accent. I can't stand the way that they pronounce shit, dog. It bothers the fuck out of me, dog. Like, Southern rappers, I just can't stand the way they speak because it's so ignorant.
Cause there ain't nothing else they can do these things for somebody. Man, look at this thing, man. Man, this boy's dangerous, man. You know what I'm talking about? But real, you can have it too, man.
You know what I mean? Like, like these motherfuckers make a make one syllable word into two syllables, like pium. That's good. You know what I mean? Like, it bugs the fuck out of me, dog. Like, when I can't listen to UGK, dude. I can't listen to Pimp C. I can't listen to Bun B because of the way they fucking sound. I can't listen to these other Southern rappers. Like, yeah, dog. I'm just like, I can't fucking stand Southern rappers, dog. And it's embarrassing to see that this is like the route that rap music took for the last 20 years. But going back to like us sabotaging each other, you know, like fucking Frost, you know, take a look at him, for instance. Like, I'll give Frost credit for a lot of things, right? I'll give him a credit for dropping a gem like fucking, you know, an anthem like La Raza. I'll give him props for putting homies on. And when I say homies, I'm talking about, you know, Chicanos in general, right? He put on fucking ALT. He put on Lawless, you know. Like, and this was quality music that they were putting out, right? Slow Pain, Nino B, and so many other people that were in that camp. But at the same time, like, you hear all these stories of fucking Frost just stepping on everybody's toes. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, he would step across the line habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
I remember like Frost not talking to Lighter Shade of Brown, right? And we would be doing shows in the same city.
It's hard, dog. It's I don't know why we behave like that, you know. And you know, no one talks about the hate we get from hip hop's majority, though. You know what I mean? Like, we can say that we're crabs in a bucket and all day long till our fucking faces turn blue, but how come no one's talking about the hate we get from hip hop's majority? You know, if you're not black, you're white, right? That's the way that black people view us.
Yeah.
We both know that hip hop is predominantly black industry. Mm-hmm. Did you ever face any racial tension, any racial discrimination when you were in the studio with black artists? Well, you're pretty much the only, if you will, white guy, Mexican guy in the studio. So my question to you is, did you ever feel that?
Of course. Race has a lot to do with it. I got past, they didn't even ever shake my hand till somebody, the artist said, hey, this is the homie Nut. He made the beat. Right. Like, every time. The part that was whack was that I was like, nobody knew who I was. Right. Because I was a Mexican kid. Right. And they didn't want a Mexican kid to get no shine.
And you know what I mean? Like, you can talk about anything you want, but at the end of the day, like, how many black audiences or black hip hop listeners listen to another rapper that isn't black besides Eminem? You know what I mean?
Right. In which, on to the next segment, right? 2 points that I just want to go ahead and run across is that I just, you know, obviously in Chicano rap, you know, obviously gangbanging has, like I said, has affected the uprise of us.
There's a lot of street politics too involved and shit that really, fuck up the scene and shit. But
so I get introduced to Dre and all that, and we're sitting next to each other, right? Dre, you need to fuck with one of the homies. He looked at me, and he just like looked at me, right? And he's like, man, be honest with you, man, I want to, but the shit that you guys got, that shit is real. I was like, what we do, this blood and crip shit that we do is entertainment. What you guys do is too real. And this is the music business.
But only two things I'm just gonna cut it short on that is, what if Duke would have never gotten shot? I wonder how big, where could Soccer Rome still go? Even though, go ahead, don't get me wrong, I mean, Sick Jack and does his things all over Latin and South America, Mexico. He tours really well down there. And then on top of that, what if, when Little Rob got shot, what if actually it did infect his speech, or maybe he could have been gone? Like, where would Chicano rap be? Who would have been the guy to blow up? Or where would Chicano rap be? Did he harm us? Did he help us?
I'll say this with certainty, dog. And I'll say this specifically about LA rappers. LA rappers, and I'm talking about Chicano rappers. LA fools have been so fucking spoiled. LA fools had the backdrop of Hollywood, the support of just being from LA, right? One of the largest entertainment markets in the fucking world.
And that's the sad part, because LA, I like to say, and I believe this is true, the entertainment capital of the world. Yes. This is Hollywood, bro. Yes.
They had the benefit of connections with Eazy-E and other mainstream artists. They had top-notch production from Tony G, Tony A. You had motherfuckers that were going big, like Ralph M and the Ralph M, the funkiest. Yeah, Ralph M, the funky Mexican from the Funk Dubious. You had fucking, Tony A, who was, I guess he considers DJ Quick to be his camp, right? Second to None, AMG, High C, like that's all his camp, right? All these LA motherfuckers had the privilege of just having LA and Hollywood being the backdrop, the connections, the plugs, the production, the top-notch, engineering for music, and they fell fucking flat. So if Duke was around, like, I don't think it would have been any fucking different. I think they would have still had the same amount of success they have right now. I don't think they would have gone mainstream or anything like that. And I think that would have been more of a personal choice. But I think Chicano rap is just, it's been hindered, dog. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that have hindered its growth. External factors, street politics, right? Because I think even Cynic from Street Platoon has mentioned that there's too much street politics affiliated with this shit, right?
There's a lot of street politics too involved and shit that really, fuck up the scene and shit. But
definitely, I think gang problem, goes down in the Hispanic and the Mexican community. I mean, definitely, but
and fucking Omar Cruz and Rome have said this, right? Like, they claim to have spoken to Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre told them, like, the shit that you guys do, like, that's way too real. What we do, the blood and crip shit, is entertainment. What you guys do is way too real. And I think
what's funny, because, like, I'm not saying I question that conversation, but Omar Cruz isn't really in that realm. He never experimented with that realm. I mean, he's had collabs with, Chicano rappers, one song, but, he was never really Chicano rap. So it was kind of weird that he was having that conversation, like if he was Chicano rap, but he's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
it's like he's speaking for us without being with us. You know what I mean?
So a lo mejor Dr. J nomás estaba dando la vuelta.
Who knows, dog? But the whole thing is, I've said that before so many fucking times, dog, is that it's you can't fake the funk being in Chicano rap, right? And I think earlier in the video, you hear what's his name, Lil Demon, right? And he throws up his neighborhood, right? He's like Old Town Pico or Old Town Rivera, whatever the fuck he says. He's like, read the chest, motherfucker. Sur. It says, fuck Royal Flea, fuck Pablito, use a trick, fuck Trick a Lick, use a bitch or whatever.
You read what it says on the chest, right? Sur, homie, Southside Rivera gang. Punk. Can't fuck with this. Fuck Royal Flea, punk. Fuck Trick a Lick. Pablito, use a bitch. Anybody down with you, fuck you too, homie. Old Town, Puto Rivera Viejo gang.
The fact that he's already talking shit about, music and labels and throwing his neighborhood on top of that, like, that's the shit that really... Yeah, dog, because it's like, think about it. Like, how many homies from Logan do you think listen to Little One? Right?
Right.
How many homies do you think from fucking Logan listen to homies from Shelltown? Right? To listen to Lil, what's his name? Young Sick and Lil Al and whoever else is from Shell Shock Entertainment. Right? Like, you got to think about, like, that neighborhood shit, like, that really hinders Chicano rap, right? Like, and it's weird to say that the authenticity of Chicano rap is what hinders it. It's a fucking trip.
Well, what about this? Before we give our closing thoughts, we have one last subject, the big one. What is it? The elephant in the room. A subject that, goddamn, this is a subject all over America. The N-word, other people that aren't black using the N-word. Now, we're narrowing down to, obviously, this documentary and our people and people that are considered part of Latin America. What are your thoughts? Because I know you got a real good take on this.
The word nigga.
All right, dog. Here's the thing. I don't like the word. And that's one of the reasons why I started listening to Chicano rap, because I got so sick of hearing that fucking word on every fucking song. And not just like once or twice. Like, if you look at a fucking rap song,
every other word, that's just not cool.
Dog, that song is littered throughout every fucking rap song, and it's not just once or twice, dog. It's in there like in a 16 bars, it's gonna be there at least 16 times. You know what I mean? and like I think I've shared it with with our little group here with Jeepers, ALR, and yourself. Fucking what's his name? The Game, right? I think he recently apologized about some lyrics that he said in the song because some blood got shot in front of a fucking, or some motherfucker got shot in front of the Nipsey Hussle thing, right? That mural. And he says, he drops the M-bomb like, I don't know, dog, in 16 seconds. He probably drops it like every other word.
Any nigga, any niggas that any LA, Bloods, nigga, Crips, anybody, nigga, that know me, nigga, know what it is with me and know I stand on my word. And like niggas sometimes just nigga make mistakes. So that's my bad. If anybody was offended, I'm gonna rectify the situation like I said.
And it sounds so fucking ignorant, dog. And that's the whole reason why I really gave Chicano rap a chance, was because it was my escape from hearing that fucking word. And now to hear Mexicans try to make the excuse of why we should say it. Oh, I grew up in XYZ city. Motherfucker, you are growing up in a city that's never been more Mexican than the last 20 fucking years. Compton, Inglewood, South Central, Watts.
Compton, Long Beach.
These fucking places haven't been more Mexican than the last 20 years, dog.
You can even say you can even almost say almost 30 years.
So when I arrived in this country, dog, I landed in Compton. I went to Tibby Elementary for a year before I ended up switching out. When I was there, dog, my class, granted I was in a Spanish speaking class, but my classmates, recess, I think it was ESL. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I didn't even fucking speak English. I just spoke Spanish. So I was just observing people talking in a language that I didn't understand. But yeah, I went to school with all Mexicans, dude. I saw more white kids in school than I saw black kids. You can fucking look that shit up. You know what I mean? And I was in Compton. I went to Tibby Elementary, and you hear me speak, and you don't hear a fucking accent. You don't hear me talk like a black person, right? So for people that say like, "Oh, I grew up in Compton, that's why I sound this way," nah, shut the fuck up. You grew up in Compton when it was already Mexican. Like, I'll give you a few examples, dog. People that actually grew up with hip hop when it was predominantly black. When you listen to Tony A, he doesn't sound like a black guy.
Agreed.
He has a very thick, not a Mexican accent, but you can tell that he speaks Spanish a lot. You know what I mean? That it comes off in his English.
La Raza blew up overnight, okay? I heard many Chicanos, before they said that they liked that song, that was dope, here's what they were worried about. I wonder where he's from.
When you listen to Tony G speak, Tony G grew up in the fucking, DJing in the 80s. You know what I mean? He was a mix master for fucking K-Day. When you listen to him speak, he doesn't sound like a typical Cuban from fucking Florida. He doesn't sound like Cuban Link, a Cuban from fucking New York. He sounds like he's Chicano.
He spends all day, blah, blah, blah. Hey, dog, we're just trying to make sure everything's good because our people, and I'm doing this thing. He's like, all right, Holmes, but this is what's got to crack, blah, blah, blah. And my only words to him was, all right, big dog, you got to do what you got to do. We'll see you tonight.
When you listen, I'm not sure if you follow this guy, but his name's Compton David, Compton David on Instagram. You've probably seen
the
pictures.
fool he's all blasted.
Yeah. When you listen to him speak, he grew up in Compton in the fucking 70s, probably in the 60s, when it was all black. And you listen to him speak, this fool sounds like he grew up in a Mexican home, right? So it's like, I don't buy that.
Real quick, at least props to Cuban Link on the section. At least he said he wants to try to drop it.
We just got a bad habit over here saying that shit. And, it's definitely one of my resolutions to stop saying that too.
He wanted to try to stop saying it, that he knows he wasn't down with it, but he says it, you know what I mean? At least he was fucking como keeping it 100. So
exactly, dog. And here's the thing.
Be Real on the other hand, he says, he just shows signs like, hey man, it's just a way of camaraderie, brotherhood in a way.
Fuck all that shit, dog. Fuck all that shit.
Little one was hilarious though. He said, I say whatever the fuck I want on my records. That shit was pretty hilarious.
I say whatever the fuck I want to say on my shit. You know what I mean? Period.
I'm not gonna deny that these rappers haven't said it. AOT has said it on record. Slow Pain has said it on record. Nino B has said it on record. Shadow has said it on a record. Night Owl has said it on a record.
It's been experimented lightly,
right?
It's been experimented
and this
lightly.
was all around the same time, dog. Like from like 99 to like 2002. Like you heard them try to throw it in there, and like I'm assuming there was a lot of backlash, and these motherfuckers just didn't bring it up again, right? But at the end of the day, dog, like
we can actually go earlier. It's like what Shadows Till I Die, and then Night Owl's album too. We can actually go a little earlier, lightly. So.
And when Slow Pain says like, hey, if you've been to jail, it'll never come out of your mouth, right?
Motherfuckers been in jail and that'll never come out their mouth.
I think homies need to start checking little homies saying that shit, right? Like even fucking Awkward said it, right? Like they got checked. They just said on their interview with Rolling Radio, like they went to jail, or I think they were in county, and they slipped out and they got put on check. You know what I mean?
Dog, that dude. Happy Perez, man, he was happy to drop the N-word. Jesus Christ, man.
Dog, do you think they talk to their grandmas like that, dog? If you don't talk to your grandma like that, like I don't believe you fucking say it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, or your mom.
Or your mom. You know what I mean? Like,
especially if your mom, like I said, especially if she's like, especially if you're the first. A lot of these people are like, they're like between like what first and second. What is it? Second born America. First or second, third generation Mexican Americans, pero
I think Little Rob said it best. I don't say it because I'm not black. It's as simple as that, dog.
Nah, I won't say that.
What?
Plain and simple, I'm not black. I'm not gonna try to rap black. We got our slang. We don't need to use black slang.
If you're gonna say like, oh, saying the word doesn't make me any less Mexican, that's like, saying, oh, I'm a guy but sucking dick isn't gay. You know what I mean? Like, no, you're a faggot. You know what I mean? Like, you just get over it, you know?
What was pretty actually really interesting, I see Baby Bash's take on the N-word, right?
Oh, God. When he says that he used to get called a taco, that fool fucking embarrassed. Oh, my God, dog. Go, say your shit, because I got some shit to say about that.
It's like, it's not like he got called, hey, compadre, hey, amigo, hey, compa, you know, hey, carnal. No, he got called taco. I think he was just trying to think some shit on the top of his head to try to justify.
Well, I'm in Vallejo, you know what I'm saying? They just call me Taco. You know what I'm saying? It was funny. We laughed at this shit, you know?
What I thought was interesting, though, is that, you know, Baby Bash, you know, obviously he advocates, you know, about his surroundings. But then I thought it was really hilarious that, like, when he went from Baby Beach to Baby Bash, and then he got success with the Smokin' Nephew album with the single Sugar Sugar, I've noticed that every single, like I said, I listened to my, you know, fair amount of Bash, and he never once said the N-word after Sugar Sugar. So any commercial release that he had, he never dropped the N-bomb. So
do you remember how much flack Jennifer Lopez got for dropping it on the song with Ja Rule?
Now people screaming, what's the deal with you and so. I tell them niggas mind their biz, but they don't hear me though.
I remember the song, but yeah, damn dude, I forgot. I know that she said it, but I forgot the heat that she got from it.
She got a lot of flack, and I was like, why? You know what I mean? She grew up in the Bronx. And when I see J-Lo, I see clear black features on her, right? She clearly, like Cardi B, dog. You look at Cardi B and you're like, you're Dominican, but you have a lot of black ancestry. You know what I mean? Right? I can see clear black African ancestry in her family. But when I look at Fat Joe is on the opposite end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of his
Fat Joe is like fucking fair-skinned, green-eyed. Like, I want to say that if this fool has hair, it's probably light brown or blonde. You know what I mean?
Fat Joe's parents look like they shop at Northgate. You know? Or you know what? I actually was, just real quick, I was actually really disappointed that when they asked Cardi B about her, you know, her heritage and her ancestry, she had no idea that there was Native American in her bloodline. Yeah, I gotta find you that Breakfast Club interview and send you the clip. It's embarrassing. She's making stuff up of what she is. Because, you know, obviously she knows that she goes like, oh, it's black mixed with Spaniard. It completely leaves the Native American part out. But my bad, dog. Go ahead. And I don't know where we were going from there.
Well, I mean, you know, she caught a lot of flack for dropping that word, and again, like, I'm not a fan of it, and that's the whole reason why I hardly listen to black rap. Like, sometimes I'll throw on like some of the old shit that I used to listen to, and I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh god, like I can't stand the fucking word, bro. And just to hear it on a record so many times, and now hearing Mexicans try to make the excuse of why they should be able to say it, it's like, no, dude, it's totally unnecessary. Like, first of all, if you're thinking of using it, is it necessary?
Yeah.
Like, why is this fucking word even necessary in their fucking vocabulary? You know, it's embarrassing. And, you know, I'll be honest, if I hear my fucking kid talking like that in my fucking house, yeah, I'm smacking him over the fucking head. You know what I mean?
I went to school with a fair amount of black people. I grew up with some black people. I never felt comfortable using the word. Never. I mean, have I said it when I couldn't help it, when I'm listening growing up to rap music in the confinements of my own pad because, you know, I'm digging the song? Of course. But I've never once. I've been given the pass before. Passes, I guess, were brought up, and I never once took on it. And even when I was with my homies that were raza, I never once were calling them the N-word. Never feel comfortable. It's just a word that, like I said, I don't use, you know, so.
Yeah, you know, dog, it's just, I don't think it's necessary. That's the thing, you know what I mean? It's like, I find it stupid when I hear black people say it, and I hear it on the rap song, I'm like, does it need to be fucking said? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not like it's just said once, dog. It's like, you hear it in a rap song, and you're just like, dog, You said it 16 times in 16 bars. Like,
What actually also makes also a lot of good sense, since you like a lot of 90s and a lot of good G-Funk, a lot of good West Coast. They weren't dropping too many N-bombs back then. They were dropping some, but not a lot like today. So, not that many, in comparison, in contrast.
It's just like, I think it's disrespectful, number one, to people that actually went through, racist shit. Like, if you meet older black people that went through segregation, went through, the civil rights movement and shit like that, like, I think it's disrespectful to say it to them. But even more so, I think it's more disrespectful from our culture, right? Because now you're taking away from our culture and replacing our culture with some other shit. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm not cool with. I'm not cool with chipping away at our culture and trying to dismantle it and make it something else that it's not.
Our people, and even the youngsters of today, they don't understand how, when they're giving the N-word so much praise and power, or so much, how is it looking up to it? It just keeps reminding the world, especially now that, when you see all these Hispanic kids, you see a completely different picture now. There's like, it's just the fact that them dropping the N-bomb or carrying themselves a certain way, it just shows that, like, hey, it's still it's here to stay a black dominated
industry.
Yeah, that's the way to go. And it's, like I said, I hope one of these days, like I said, I just hope some of these kids, because will get to look at themselves one day when they're adults and when they're a little bit more mature, and hopefully they get to reflect and see what happens.
I want to bring up something that I don't think we really consider too much, but I always known that the influence of Southern California was creeping into Northern California, right? Especially with the Chicano culture and the differences between Northern California and Southern California get down. And so we used to clown, remember back in the day, we used to clown Norteños because they would, act black, try to fucking sound black. And, just the way that they carried themselves, were like, damn. But at the same time, I was saying, like, whoa, you see a lot more of Southern California influences creeping into what was, previously Norteño territory. And so I always saw that, like, oh, we're inevitably going to become a part of Northern California's culture. And now here I am, fucking 16 years later, and I'm looking at it like, wow, it's the complete opposite. Northern California Chicano culture is now becoming, Southern California culture. And I'll say this more so for LA, dog. LA Chicanos are becoming the Norteños of Southern California. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say that to anybody, dog. Like, the way that they carry themselves, the way that they're talking, and the way that they're rapping, like, I'm not saying you're sounding like RBL Posse or Rappin' Ron or Too Short. No. I'm saying you're bringing that shit that we used to clown on, and now you're trying to make that passable in Southern California,
Yeah.
That's just what I had to say. Like, ultimately, like, and what boggles me, dog, is that LA County is so fucking populated, dog. There's like 12 million people in just LA County alone. Of that, I think more than half of LA County is of Mexican descent, or let's just say Latino, right? Let's be politically correct and say how much of LA is really Latino. I would say probably half, right?
Whew.
And
maybe even more.
And to say that we're not the ones dictating the culture, dictating the music, dictating the taste, dictating the get down, that says a lot, dog. How the fuck is LA fools playing second fiddle in their own backyard? That's what I want to know. Right? How come they're not the ones calling the shots in the music industry, in rap music, in what's popular? Yeah, 48.6% is Latino. So I just want to throw that in, dog. That's the last shit I'm going to say about that.
My closing thoughts. I wish they actually would have had more beat nuts. It looks like there was only pretty much a cameo from Juju, and Psycho Les was nowhere to be seen. It would have been cool to see like they have a little, he goes by Chris Rivers, but Big Pun's son. They have him, earlier performing on the mic, but there's no sound. It would have been cool to hear him, bust a little freestyle. And then towards like the end, I just thought it was really weird. Like, and now it's funny because I'm picturing the time. They have a Little One. You hear a Little One song that I've never heard of, out only in that documentary. And that
I
Little
heard
One
it the other
song,
day. I heard it the other day.
That Little One song, I'm like, okay, this must have been like I said, experimenting with that early 2000s, because he had someone that sounded like fucking Fat Man Scoop, and I'm like, what the fuck? I would have never. It just completely tripped me out. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's on the Boogeyman album, if I'm not mistaken.
Check it out, Boogie down on the dance floor.
Oh, okay.
But so wrapping this up, dog. Like, what did you think of number one, the freestyles that we saw in here?
That's free for you. I got it on sale. Check it out on TV. Watch my shit just sell. It's gonna sell in the store when it drops. Sell out everywhere, record shops. Much love to the mom and pops because they keep the shit going. Everybody knows that my skills they be flowing like a shark in the motherfucking water. Don't leave me at home with your
basura.
Same here.
Dumpster
Same
juice.
Here. Number two, the soundtrack.
What I expected from, now that I look at it, I wouldn't have expected anything better. I wouldn't expect nothing better. It's with the production. Like I said, it's not good. It's not bad, but it's not good. No, it's kind of bad.
I don't think it does any justice to Chicano rap. You know what I mean? Especially with the fuckers freestyling on there. It's like, dog, you hear these motherfuckers saying, hey, you gotta come with production values, you gotta come with some heat, you gotta come with some tight lyrics, you gotta come off with some dope shit. And then you hear these motherfuckers freestyling, you're like, what the fuck is this shit?
Fucking phony ass lame, homie. No pro motherfucking gangsters, homie. What you gonna do, homie, when I catch you motherfuckers slipping? What you gonna do, homie? The fuck you gonna do, homie?
Number one, and number two, it's like, okay, that same shit I just said, why isn't and I get it, right? Like, you don't have the rights to put out certain music. Okay, well, fucking get these artists to put out some shit specifically for the soundtrack, right?
Right.
Like, even if it's a few bars or if it's an unfinished song, like, have them throw something on there showcasing how fucking dope they really are, right? Because Shadow's dope, fucking Little One's dope, Sinful's dope, Cynic is dope, Sick Jackin's dope. Like, that song that they played by Slow Pain, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, that sounded like some bootleg fucking Fruit Loops beats. You know what I mean?
And this dedicated to all myself outside. Everybody throw your shit up.
And rest in peace to Slow Pain. I don't mean to insult his legacy like that. To me, my favorite rappers from LA are AOT and Slow Pain. And I have a big catalog from Slow Pain's music. So I know this motherfucker has some dope shit. You know what I mean? Why put something like that that's so fucking whack unless you're purposely trying to sabotage the way that people perceive Chicano rap,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, my closing thoughts, I thought it was cool that they put together the underground and the mainstream, but it also gave you a look as to like the mainstream rappers are the ones that are on the East Coast that have a blacker appearance, blacker way of speaking, and blacker way of carrying themselves than the underground scene, where the homies really draw the line on what is Chicano and what's acceptable. You know what I'm saying?
For the time being, when I remember, like I said, props to the project. I remember I was really excited when I purchased it, and I'm glad that something like this didn't come out in 2021, 2020. Jesus Christ, that would have been a big old fail. But like I said, hey, it was somewhat of a start. It still hasn't been properly done. Would have been. Hopefully, we get to see some from Tony A. I hope so. It might be a little conflicted. It might be a little conflicted, but like I said, I'm glad I watch it. It's really truly for the. It really is truly for the Chicano rap, Hispanic, Latino rap listener. But
and you know what? It's mostly for our generation and before. So I don't think this generation would appreciate it for what it's worth. I'm surprised that he was able to get that many people, especially like high caliber people. Like Vargas was probably near his prime or just out of his prime. Fat Joe was still like very relevant in rap music, and
as a
very
matter
popular.
of fact, he was on the cusp of like blowing up, because I remember Lean Back hasn't come out yet. So as a solo artist, he still hasn't blown up. So, but he was still very well known. I mean,
very well known. The Beat Nuts, very well known.
Right.
Very respectable. Cypress Hill was probably at the height of their career. I'm not Cypress Hill. Psycho Realm, right? And even Cypress Hill, to get people that were like still relevant, in the music industry, right? Because they had just recently dropped Skull and Bones or something, and it's just, it was cool to see that they were that down on earth to do a documentary like that. I didn't like the soundtrack. I didn't like the freestyles, the production values. I mean, sometimes you could hear fucking cell phones in the background or the traffic, and I was like, this is fucking whack. But still, like, I'll give the guy props for actually piecing something together that well. Do I wish that they would have gone more into the history of Chicano rap and, the West Coast rap, and because there's so much that was not covered, and I wish they would have thrown in fucking, Kid Frost in there. I wish they would have thrown in Night Owl. I wish they would have given us a little bit more from like AOT and other people. Like, I thought Julio G was gonna have a bigger part, but kind of just skimmed over him.
Right. Only thing that was pretty cool to just close it out. I liked how they showed a clip of inside old school Fam Art before it got raided by the FBI, and he actually, he showed a man that I used to buy CDs from. So that was pretty cool. He used to sell CDs and also used to sell all these big portraits. I remember I bought one time. It was like a tiger cub, a tiger mom holding her, her tiger cub, and she was like, posing really sick with it, with the cub in her mouth. So, yeah, that's just pretty much my closing thoughts on that, man.
Cool. Any shout outs you want to give before we end the episode?
Yeah, I just want to say, obviously, shout out to ALR and GPA, man. Hopefully we get to record in our next episode. And scratch that. I'll be like, I'm just going to shout out to ALR and GPA.
Yeah, man. Shout out to ALR and GPA. Shout out to Joni for constantly showing us support. Shout out to the original Chicano Rap channel. Shout out to San Diego Rap History. Shout out to Barrio Star. Shout out to anybody that's listening and supporting our podcast. With that said, like we always say,
just chill
till the next episode. Boom.
Peace.